welcome back to the recruitment version. This week we will be discussing the trends that you as a candidate need to watch out for.
Hi Roni, how was your week last week?
It was good. It was busy, but it was good. How was your week?
It was the same, I guess. First week back, we were really busy. We've had some time back and we're going to look into some candidate trends that we're seeing in the market and what candidates really need to look out for. So I would say the biggest thing I would say is candidates need to be proactive. They need to be in the market. If you are getting made redundant, be proactive in this market. Be ready and looking for jobs, because clients will want to know how quickly are you looking, why aren't you looking, and it's something that you want to see. You want to see candidates that want to work.
Yeah, I think don't just wait and hope that a recruiter will call you. But I think we don't get too many inbound calls, but when we do, it's normally really good candidates, and it takes you by surprise, and you're like, wow, okay, you really want this. And I think it really shows us that you are interested in this job. It's not just that I've called you and no one else has, so you're like, yeah, I'll go forward for that one. I think it's all about appearances, and I think proactivity is a huge thing that people look for. And I actually remember just before Christmas going to a client visit, and we said to them, in terms of personality, who this person is, what is the one big thing you're looking for? And the one word they kept on repeating was proactivity. So I do think that is something that's in the minds of all the hiring managers. So as a candidate, it's important, to look good that you are proactive, but also to help yourself and to make sure you're, in a job or back in work as quickly as you can.
I think so. I think we can all understand redundancies, but sitting and waiting a few months after your redundancy just because you thought, I'll just have a little bit of a break. That break is sometimes hard to explain to a client.
Yeah.
They are going to think, okay, well, do they need a job? Is that having a job not important to them? Will that candidate leave?
And it snowballs as well. 1 week comes into 2 weeks, comes into a month, comes into 2 months. It is so quick for you to lose track of the amount of time you have been off work, and you might then struggle to not only get a job, but to get back into the swing of things when you do get into that job. So I think, keep yourself in that sort of working mindset and, try and have your jobs be back to back if possible. And I do think, we were saying be proactive, but if you come to a recruiter and say, hey, look, I'm being made redundant, can you help me? We love that. We love when people come to us, because we will make that our top priority, and we will make sure that we help you to get back into work. So definitely think that's really important. But going to the flip side of things, there are lots of redundancies. People are affected by this economic crisis, but at the same time, companies are still hiring. There are still a lot of new jobs that we're bringing on every week. Yeah, absolutely. And, we were saying earlier about sales jobs, even if a company is struggling, it sort of makes sense for them to bring on new salespeople, to push those sales, to bring in more money. And I mean, you could say the same about recruitment as well. It's bring in recruiters because they'll bring in more clients and more money. So it's worth a lot of, in a lot of industries, it is worth companies still investing in those staff to, even marketing, there's a lot of redundancies there. But, if you're trying to push sales for a product, bring in marketing people who can market that for you, who can then bring in sales. So don't feel discouraged by the amount of redundancies, because there are still a lot of jobs in so many different industries.
And I think as we go into a recession, we're going to see that companies will still want to hire. They will still want to make sure that they've got people working, because I think you need people in jobs. You need the jobs worked. Whether you're in a finance role, whether you're in a marketing role, whether you're in a sales role, they need those people to do the job.
Yeah.
So I think one really good way of looking at it is, you might have been made redundant, but there's jobs out there, and we're seeing that there's so many jobs out there, and it really is a candidate market. So go out and find the job you want. Take that time out. Don't jump between jobs, but take that time out to find a job you really want. But I think you need to get back onto it instead of just letting it sit.
Definitely. And I think, to sort of prepare yourself for getting into work, it's important to take some time to really optimize your CV, because a trend that is coming about this year is the automated systems that are screening CVs without any kind of human contact at all. You would send your CV to a company and not one single person at the company would have seen it, apart from their robot, their AI system, and that robot could say, yeah, no, you're not right for the job. So it's about making sure that, you know, the keywords that should be there are there, and sometimes even the amount of times that certain keywords are mentioned in your CV is just as important. So do your research. I was speaking to a candidate earlier who they put the time in, and they, you know, watched loads of YouTube videos and read some articles about how they could make sure their CV was saying the right things and reflecting them in a way that, you know, a human would recognize as a great fit, but also a robot and AI systems and all those digital things that are happening at the moment, that can still recognize that you are a good fit for the role.
I think it's about adapting your CV, isn't it, to the job you want.
Definitely.
If you're looking to go towards a different kind of area in the business that you've maybe worked, you did at uni, adapt your CV, have different copies of your CV so that these AIs don't knock your CV out of the system.
Yeah.
Think about it logically, and if it does get knocked out of the system because it's not right, think about what your next step is. Do you then find out a contact for the company? Can you ring the business up? Even if you get through just to the receptionist, they will be able to pass on some sort of detail. So I think it's about going above and beyond, making sure that you've tried every avenue.
Yeah.
You could send your CV online to us, but give us a call. See what we can do. Say, I've just sent over my CV. What can you do to help me? And we love that. We like the eagerness. We want to help those people that are eager to find jobs.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one thing to do as well when you're looking at your CV is to simplify it. And I don't mean don't have enough details in it, but what I mean is you don't need a picture of your face in it. You don't need, wacky designs and creative things. Even in creative industries now, I'm finding that those CVs that are plain and go into detail about what they could bring to the team are actually better than someone thinking their CV is a good opportunity to give a visual representation of what they can bring. If you do want to really show off your creativity and that visual side of things, attach a portfolio alongside your CV. Because it's so important that the content that is on your CV is what is selling you, and that does enough for them to say, hey, yeah, I want to interview you. You might know that you're a perfect fit, but that piece of paper has to prove it as much as anything else. So,
and you'll prove your skills and what you're about, and I think that is so important.
Definitely. And I think as well, online presence is a huge thing. As we're in the day and age of social media, so everyone's got social media profiles somewhere, and a lot of them, they aren't set to private, and we can see them. So just be very careful, what you're putting out on your social media. I mean, we as recruiters, sometimes we do check social medias, and when we say that to clients, a lot of the time now they're turning around and saying, no, we do the same too. So be careful, because people are doing that, and if they see something that they don't like, not necessarily personal opinions or things like that, but if they see you doing anything illegal, for example, or having questionable opinions about things, they're not going to want to hire you.
And I think we see it more and more these days. You see it with actors where they've tweeted or they've liked something from years ago, and it's come back to haunt them. And I think it can be the same on LinkedIn. You can like a lot of things, and it can just be a click of a button, but be careful, because everyone can see it. We can see it as recruiters. A client can definitely see it. So I think it goes back to what Roni was saying, be careful of your online presence.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, to sort of counteract any personal social media things that might be out there, why don't you, take the time to build up your personal LinkedIn and use that to post about anything you've achieved at work, or personal, celebrations that you've had, to really show the type of person you are in that professional world. And I think not enough candidates are doing that at the moment, because, they don't think about it. They might be, if they're a marketer, for example, they're so busy doing the marketing for the company that they forget to do their own personal brand on LinkedIn. And that personal brand also needs to be sort of away from the company that you're working for, so that you've got something personal to stand on when you're no longer attached to that company.
I think it's big. Utilize LinkedIn. It's there to help you. And it isn't just a place where you go to find jobs anymore. No. It is personal branding for jobs. So definitely utilize that to your advantage.
And make sure it's up to date as well, because sometimes it seems a bit strange to us if your CV says one thing and we go on your LinkedIn and that job isn't on there. It can be a red flag. So just make sure that all the dates line up with what's on your CV and that it's all up to date, to avoid any confusion there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I think that's it for us today. Thank you for listening to the recruitment version. Watch out for our podcast next week.